My name is Count Frightculous, and I would like to introduce you to the chilling, spooky scariness of the world, and maybe perhaps the universe. But now our journey is taking us down the path of the books of scary stories, and we're on a quest to try to find the most scary of the scariest stories within these books. And these books come from all over the place. There's hundreds of them, maybe thousands of these books that have been long lost, hidden away in the dark recesses, or what some people call the clutter of the closets or the basements or the attics. Yes, these scary stories are everywhere, and we are going through them one by one as we can find them, and we review to see what is scary about it, what is not scary. And then at the end, we give an official rating. And to do that though, to do the official rating at the very end that you want to stay is none other than the Demon Baby. Yes, she will give an official rating at the end, so make sure you stay for that. It's very good. You don't want to miss the Demon Baby and her scary rating. She does it with the head spinning around like this. One head spin being not so scary, up to 5 head spins. Can you imagine a doll spinning around 5 times to tell you something is scary? Once I see one head spin, I'm already scared. Case closed, right? But no. Anyway, let's go on. Let's move on. One of the things that we can do though, as we review these scary stories, is we can kind of get some life lessons from them. I know I don't want to go too deep with that, but yes, there are things that we can learn. It's not just a scary story for scariness sake. It is in some way, it's very entertaining, but we can also gather from these stories the kinds of characters that are in them, the way they portray themselves, all of the evilness they do, you know. There's a lot of egotism there and hatred, and people are very just negative, and they let things swell within them. They grasp on, they hold a grudge. All of these things are part of the evilness, you know, that happen in scary stories. And it's good to recognize that because it's very exaggerated, of course, but you know, we can sometimes see that maybe happening within ourselves or others, so we can recognize that. So in some small, very small way, I'm not trying to be Mr. Psychologist over here and teach you how to be a better person, but in a small way, we can always learn from these kinds of things while we're having fun looking through the scary story. So I would suggest to get a blanket maybe if you need something to feel safer, get you some good snacks. I always recommend the salty snacks because salt helps to ward away the evil. So, you know, eating salt snacks, I would think, would help to do that too. You satisfy 2 things, your hunger inside and the evil outside, right? Okay, so there you go. Anyway, I'm waiting for our scary book. Where is our scary story? Well, we're waiting. We will have that very soon. Actually, I don't have the book right here in front of me, so I'm still waiting for that scary story. You know, last time we had a little bit of a lapse where, you know, there was supposed to be something to happen and it didn't. So I'm just wondering, you know, I feel like, I don't know. Anyway, how have you been doing lately? Hopefully you're doing well. You can leave it in the comment. What is it that scares you the most? And don't tell me it's this show, because I will come out there and I will tell the Demon Baby about it, and she won't be very happy. And the last thing you want to do is to upset the Demon Baby. So anyway, we're waiting, and yeah. So okay. Thank you. Okay, there it is. There's a knock. Oh, a knock at the door. Who could it be? Let's find out. Yes, of course, it's the Grim Picker. And he is here with our scary stories to review. And I must warn you, do not deny the choice of the Grim Picker. Once the decision is made, it must not be undone. And just a side note, I have to wonder if the Grim Picker is quite busy these days, because this is kind of like the second time that we've had to linger a little bit waiting and waiting. So anyway, but now we have our book of scary stories, and let us take a look after this long wait. Now we are ready to go into the review of this book of scary stories. And this one is titled Haunted Love. Yes, Tales of Gothic Romance. And so you don't know, you look at the cover and the imagery, it's I like that there's a lot of motion. There's a lot of, it's a busy cover to me, but it's not super busy. You do have to kind of decipher what's going on, but it keeps your eyes in the image. And the more you look at it, the more then you decide you want to pick it up. So it's good that there's a lot of moving parts, I think, on the cover. The colors are kind of subdued a little bit, but you do have these nice glowing colors. They do invoke a sense of romance because of the pinks and the reds, and they've got some, what do you call it, mauve in there. I want to say the color mauve. And so then you see it with the yellow and the blues. So it all kinds of goes, it's very warm feeling, right, on the cover. And then you see this man it almost looks like he's taking advantage of the woman more than she wants to. And even her words, I hate him, but I can't refuse his kisses. So, if you're looking at this and you saw this, or I saw this, I'd say, well, I don't know, I'm not really into soap operas and into love stories and that kind of thing. But they did add one key phrase on there that will seal the deal in case you're wondering, is this just a book of some love stories or what? Right there at the very top, we see it right here. It's scary, yes, haunted love, tales of Gothic romance. And so now let's go ahead and into the stories in this haunted love. It's scary haunted love. So this book only contains 2 stories. The first one a little shorter, and then the second one is a longer story. But let's go ahead and check out the first one, shall we? It's called Eternal Teacher. Oh boy, what do we got? Now the first image on the cover, I find it hard to decipher this. It's really hard. I'm looking and I can't tell, but as you look closer, there's a small girl here at the bottom, and she is actually looking out the window. That is the moon up there, and in the distance, this blue object is apparently a carriage coming towards this place. So she's in the house looking out. I'm just describing it. Because if you first looked at this, you might be confused and say, why is this weird looking butterfly at the top? And there's a girl, and then there's like, what is this, the big planet? I mean, what is going on? But the words then will paint the picture out for you as well. He was coming. I could see the carriage jogging over the moors. The old driver was bringing him, and the closer he came, the more excited I was. I wanted this one to stay. I wanted this one to become my eternal teacher. See, that was the title, okay. This story is about a young man, a teacher, who is hired by a wealthy family to teach their young daughter. And apparently there have been many teachers there, and none of them have been able to stay because there's something about the daughter that keeps them from staying. But as we look through the story, they don't really tell you until later on in. So it does a good job of building suspense, and you're wondering at the beginning, what is it about this girl? Because they don't show her either, really, at the beginning either. You don't really get a good look. So you're wondering, does the girl have some disfigurement? Or is she really a monster of some kind? Does she turn into a monster? You don't know. All you know is that there's some reason, and they're very reluctant to try to tell him. Because even at the beginning, when he shows up, he doesn't even meet the daughter until the next day. As we see here, Mr. Dubke, I hope your journey was pleasant. Please join me in some brandy. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. I'm looking forward to teaching your child. How old is she? Relax first, Ken. My daughter is going to be quite a challenge to you. See, he didn't answer the question. So right there, we still don't know much about the little girl other than she's going to be a challenge. A challenge. Perhaps I should warn you, sir, this is my first teaching job. You probably will want a more experienced man for your little girl. No, I want your enthusiasm. You are my daughter's 8th teacher. Hopefully you will be her last. Now I don't like the way he said last. That's kind of sinister. Now you're wondering, is there something weird going on? I know it's only 2 pages, but it's a suspense, so it's nice. It's not scary necessarily, but it is a bit frightening, because why? The unknown. We talk about the unknown, and that the fear of the unknown, right? That suspense you're building, we don't know. We're trying to figure out what is it about this girl that's going, so it makes you want to keep going deeper into the story. Very good there, I like that. So anyway, he meets the wife, you know, he's still talking to the husband, but then there's something there that the wife says, you didn't tell him? And he says, tell me what? And the husband, Mr. Benjamin, says, tomorrow, when you meet our daughter, you will know everything. You see there, he's being very elusive. He doesn't want to say yet. You think they would want to just get it out in the open so that it's there. But they're I guess, I don't know why they want to let it carry on until the next day, until he finds out. Because what if he leaves? I don't know. But anyway, I guess they're just so afraid. They're just hoping, let's just keep him here as long as we can, right? So then, the wife even says, I hope you will stay, Mr. Dookie. None of the others did. Once they found out about Elizabeth, she shows Mr. Dookie to his room, and then she goes to check on the daughter, and she's comforting the daughter, but we still don't see the daughter's face. We don't see enough of the daughter, right? But she's very excited to see a new teacher. We assume she's going to be younger, right? That's one thing we kind of see because of the doll and the fact that mother is tucking her in. But right there, my poor darling, I only wish I didn't have to put you through this again. So it's the next morning, and he's ready to meet. And they're like, have some breakfast. He's like, no, I just want to meet the daughter. Okay, let's go ahead. The daughter is there. This is Elizabeth, and you see her. Now, the picture is hard to tell, but once Mr. Dookie tells you, then you realize, but she must be at least 18 years old. You told me you were good with children mentally. Elizabeth is about 5 years old. Teach her. I'll let you back out, but I beg of you, at least try. So he decides he will, and he does. He teaches her the alphabet, he teaches her how to write, and he's teaching her all these things, and she's very excited. You can tell she's like a sponge, and she absorbs it, and the father comes in, and she's like, look, Daddy, look what I've learned. And he doesn't seem super impressed, he's happy, but you can still tell that he's worried, because he's not sure if, you know, in the end, Mr. Dookie will decide to stay. But all the while, Elizabeth, the little girl, she's 18, but she's falling in love with her teacher, and he seems to be a little bit, because she is old enough, she's 18, he seems to be falling a little bit for her as well. And he's teaching her, he decides to teach her some geography. And she says, that's Paris, isn't it? Will you take me there? Well, maybe someday. And she leaps and hugs him. Oh, thank you. Hey, he exclaims. He knows that it's still not appropriate. He says, don't do that, Beth. Try to remember that you're a full-grown woman. I'm sorry, Ken. I knew what I was, and I also knew that I was in love with Ken. See, she's already in love with him. And that night, she comes in and won't let him sleep. And she wakes him up, but she's put on this beautiful dress, and now she looks like a very sophisticated woman. And Ken is like, holy moly mackerels, you know? Look at this. Where did you get that dress? You're beautiful. Come with me, I want to show you something. And then she shows him the library and all the books, and there they embrace, and you see them holding hands. And he's like, will you stay and teach me? And he says, I'll stay. What all he's going to teach her? Well, we'll let that go with your imagination. You can finish the story with your friends in another way, but we will finish what this is going to be, okay? Let's finish this one. A few days later. Good morning, Mr. Benjamin. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? Try looking out of the window, Ken. There's a storm brewing. He knows. Mr. Benjamin knows. You're in love with my daughter because she now thinks as well as looks like a woman. But she's asleep now. What of it? She'll be awake soon. It's the first sleep she's had since you arrived. Sleep, refreshing, necessary. But for Beth, it is like an eraser going over a blackboard. I've been trying to tell you that her mind cannot retain what she learns. And there we have it. Hello, you must be my new teacher. Oh no! I made you a promise, Beth, and I'll keep it. I won't leave you. I won't ever leave you. There we see it. This is kind of resembling like the 50 First Dates, the Adam Sandler movie, or that movie Groundhog Day. It's a little bit different, but you know, when there's a new day, it restarts, everything is fresh and new. But this story was told back in the 70s. So this was before the Adam Sandler 50 First Dates. But it kind of has that same feel. You get the idea. So every time she sleeps, she forgets everything she learned. So unless she just stays awake forever, which that's not going to happen, Ken is going to have to teach her every time she wakes up. But to me, I would say, hey, let's just stop learning, right? Let's just have some fun. We'll go to Paris, you know? I mean, it could be a good thing because think about it. If you have a really bad argument and she hates you, well, the next day when she wakes up, she basically is not going to remember it. So it is kind of haunting in that respect, but you know, if we can look at the silver lining, if we can try to find something positive out of it, it's at least, hey, he's got a girl that is not going to be angry at him all the time because she's never going to remember it. But that could be very drastic because but let me bring it back to reality. I was having some fun with you there, but let me bring it back to reality. Think about it. All the memories they have, if they go to Paris or say every time they embrace, he will remember, but she's never going to remember those memories. He won't be able to share those memories with her because she'll never remember. So it's kind of haunting for Ken. Now for Elizabeth, as long as he stays with her, she's in bliss, right? Because she has someone she loves. But with Ken, he's going to be tormented knowing that their memories are only going to be for him and she'll never really fully get to experience their life together. So with that, it's haunted love. Okay, let's just move to the second story. And the second story starts. Now the second story is titled, A Kiss to Save Him from the Grave. Ooh, that does sound a bit eerie and foreboding, does it not? Well, it sounds a bit haunting, a haunting love. Because it is scary, just as the title said. It's scary. So let's hope it is. Now this story is about a doctor who tells the people at the hospital he works at that he's taking a leave of absence because he's been hired by a very wealthy old man to take care of him in his last days, and in return, he will get enough money to open his own clinic. So the nurses there are like, oh no, that's too bad to see you go, especially because there's one nurse in particular who has a crush on him. So he actually, not knowing of the crush, I'm saying, but he has, hey, I need an assistant. Why don't you come with me to the house and work with me there? Of course, she takes him up on it because she has a bit of a crush on him, but she actually shows up at the house first. This house is very haunted looking, looks very scary. It's the typical haunted looking house out in the middle of nowhere. It's always very dark when she arrives. I mean, it's the beginning of every horror movie there is, right? Other than there was no big storm pouring down on her. But now she's there, and when she gets there, a nurse runs out and like, oh my goodness, don't stay here, don't stay. But of course, this nurse stays because she knows that her doctor, you know, could-be boyfriend is going to show up, and she wants to be there when he gets there. And she says she would be there to help take care of the old man. The old man, of course, looks like he's already been dead for 100 years. And as she's there, she's getting more and more creeped out because it's a very gloomy, very spooky house, And so she feels a presence on her. And then there is, and that's where we see that she gets this kiss from a ghost. But she can't resist it, even though she's very angry about it. And she knows that this is some kind of spirit there that's trying to take advantage of her, but she's almost hypnotized by it, right? But let me go back and we'll go through a few of the pages and through the panels, and just to see a little bit of the story so that you get the idea and see everything that is going on here in this very scary plot. So her name is Lucille Burton, a registered nurse, was quite content working in a small hospital in the deep south. And so there's Dr. Thornton, the red-headed man there appears, and he's the one that she has the crush on. And she's wondering, why are you leaving? And that's where he says, I'm accepting a full-time patient, Miss Burton. I need the help of an excellent nurse. I had you in mind. You're going to give up your work here and all the people who depend on you to take care of one man? He says, one very rich man, Lucille. Remember that clinic I dreamed of opening for poor kids? This man will give me enough to start it, but I need your help. She says, Wayne Thornton has always been too busy to spend time with me, but if we were working on the same case, he'll have to notice me. So then she's driving, and we see it's very spooky. Look how the light is coming from underneath her, so that's kind of a spooky look to it. It's very, you're getting this sense of, uh-oh, here we go into the eerie part. This old patient, you know, you see the fence is kind of rickety, and it's very dark, of course, when she shows up. And she even says here, it's well maintained, but it's like a mausoleum. I'm telling you right now, if I show up to a house and the first thought that I have is, looks like a mausoleum, I'm not so sure I'm going to stop the car. I may just do like a little U-turn and I'll be right back out the gate. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, maybe I resigned a bit too quick. The paperwork hasn't been fully done. I think I can still get my job back. Don't mind me, I'm just got a little bit of the allergy. But we're going to make it through it. Dr. Thornton is at the hospital. He said he'll be out here tonight, tomorrow at the latest. So here she's entering the house, you know, the creaking of the door, it's very spooky and scary. And then we have the butler he looks like he's in need of medical attention himself. You know, he looks like he should be at the hospital, actually. But there was a nurse already there, and she's coming to basically relieve that nurse. And the nurse is busting out of the door. You're Lucille Burton, aren't you? Listen to me, don't stay here. Let that idiot doctor find some other woman to be driven mad. You'd better listen to me. But she's not going to leave, because of course she has that crush on Dr. Burton, right? And so that is blinding her. So she's walking in, I mean, the house, it looks like a mausoleum. The butler looks like a zombie, a corpse himself, you know? And then the nurse is frantic, telling her, get out, get out, get out. But she stays, of course she stays. All these red flags. How many of you ladies out there, or gentlemen, you have a lot of red flags in your relationship, yet you go through it anyway? I think this is a little bit of an analogy. This story can be looked at in that way. Red flag, red flag, red flag, in your face. You're like, oh, I'll just keep going. Maybe it will get better, right? No, let's keep going, shall we? Here she's thinking, we could use more light in here. Trevor Galt must be in bed. He's 97 years old. Well, he's lived a pretty good long life. And here she's up going to the bed, and he looks worse than I expected. He doesn't seem to be alive. Another red flag. But yet, she stays. As she bent over the old man, she felt something lightly touch her arm. Then as she straightened up, there was a breath on her neck. Someone is behind me. Someone kissed the back of my neck. Who is it? The room is empty. Once more, Lucille Burton looked at her patient. There seemed to be a trace of color in the parchment-like face. And was that a smile on those ancient lips? Ooh, this old man seems to be a bit of a flirt, doesn't he? He's a little bit happy with the nurse. So, here we go. Erratic heartbeat, fluctuating blood pressure. I've heard Trevor Galt discussed at the hospital. He's been dying for years. Only his money and constant medical attention are keeping him alive. And you see the old man. He does look very much like he's already dead. And she even says here, he seems more dead than alive at times. My imagination was playing tricks on me. I thought someone was behind me in this room. I heard someone laughing. Who's there? She's very frantic at this. She's very nervous, so she calls the doctor. Please, you must come now. You must come. She goes to check on the old man one more time before she goes to bed. Now you try to sleep, Mr. Galt. I get the weirdest feeling when he looks at me. And so she goes to bed. She's wearing a nice little nightgown here. Her hair is very, I don't know what kind of hairstyle you call that there. That's a very strange way they depicted her hair. I guess she redid her hair to go to bed. Or maybe she just took the hat off, I guess. But and that's like a big wave coming down or something. That's a 70s hairdo for sure. I'm afraid to sleep. I'll just rest my eyes. And she falls asleep and uh-oh, here we go. Get up, Lucille. I want you to come with me. It's a ghostly figure. Who is it? You will know me, my dear. Join me. I shall be waiting in the garden. Lucille was still asleep, but she rose, obeying his commands, and he puts her into a trance. It's a ghost, and he's basically seducing her. And I'll give you a little bit of, because some people may want the romantic part of the story. You know me, don't you, Lucille? Yes, but you didn't die, did you? Not yet, my dear. It is not yet time. And she says there, why am I accepting his kisses? I hate him, and he terrifies me. Go, Lucille, return to your room. I will return and tell you what you must do. Yes, Trevor, and I shall obey. And then we have a zooming in car. Something is terribly wrong. Lucille, it's Dr. Burton. He busted through the house. And he's like, Lucille, what's wrong? She's sleepwalking. I'll let her return to her room. Dr. Thornton accompanied the nurse up to the stairs, watched from her door as she returned to bed, and he turned away. I shouldn't have brought her here, not after learning what I have about the old man. I searched and found no record of Trevor Galt's birth in the latter part of the 19th century. In 1908, Trevor Galt appeared as a young man to claim his inheritance. No male Galt ever had a child, it seems. For 4 generations since the Revolutionary War, a Galt seems to appear to carry on the line, fully grown, unknown before taking his place at the head of the house. The mystery is coming undone. What is going on here? Will it happen again? Trevor Galt, is there a descendant, a grandson perhaps, waiting to appear and to claim to be your heir? Your heir, I'm sorry, not your hair, your heir. He does need some hair. He's 97. He looks like he could use a nice little hair, some new hair. But it's the heir, H-E-I-R, just to remember. So the next morning they're having breakfast together, and Dr. Thornton tells Lucille about how she was sleepwalking and she was unaware of it, and he's like, don't worry, it'll be okay, there's nothing to be frightened of. And then he gets a telegram, and it's from Trevor Galt III, the saying, dun dun dun, he'll be arriving there tomorrow, and he hopes his grandfather will still be alive when he does. Oh no, Mr. Galt will die tonight, Wayne. Don't you see? And then he knows. I know what he's planning, Lucille, but I won't let it happen. And she's trying to say, let's get out of here. And he's like, you know my contract. If I stay, I can still get the money for my clinic. So we must stay. So there she is. And he tells her to go to bed. You'll be okay. He's like, no, it's dangerous. We shouldn't fall asleep. But he's like, don't worry. Because Dr. Thornton knows, and so he's not afraid now. He knows what's going on, and he's going to let it play out because he doesn't want this to happen to someone else, as we see. You've planned this a long time, haven't you, old man? You don't want to die. You'll use me to go on living. Just as you've seized the bodies of other men over the past 200 years. You're a warlock, Galt, a witch, but it will end here, perhaps tonight. I'm going to watch you die, Galt, medically. There is no way I can keep you alive, and the world will be a better place. But Lucille goes to bed, and there is the ghost. There, the one who was seducing Lucille. It is actually Mr. Galt, as we find out, because he's a witch, a warlock. And he's telling her, listen to me, Lucille, right there. Now he's going to give her the plan, and she is mesmerized. She has to obey him. She said there, I hate him, but I must obey. I accept his kisses. 10 minutes later, Lucille Burton quietly opened the door of the sick room. I've been expecting you, Lucille. Wayne, I brought coffee for you to help you stay awake. It smells delicious, Lucille. You dreamed of Galt a few moments ago, didn't you, Lucille? I don't know what you mean, Wayne. I mean, you're not really awake even now, Lucille. You're in a Whoa, that is a big, scary word. Let's try to pronounce it together, shall we? I mean, you're not really awake even now, Lucille. You're in a somnambulistic state. I got it. I think. Close enough, right? Under Galt's power, and this coffee is drugged. No, it isn't true. Very well, Lucille, I'll drink the coffee. Don't you knock it out of his hand, and then that's when the ghost realizes, oh no, it's not, my plan is not going to work. You have betrayed me. I shall destroy you both, you fools. Hold on, darling. It will soon be over. Trevor Galt is dead, Lucille. His ghost will never invade your dreams again. See, and so that was kind of scary right at the end, but he really didn't do anything. It was just the fact that he was trying to poison the coffee, and then he would have taken over Mr. Thornton's body, because it was a younger body. He could have then possessed it and been, I guess, become back alive, even though he'd just been poisoned, but apparently he would have came back alive as Mr. Galt. So he was just bouncing from body to body as the witch, claiming to be a grandson. It's a very devious plot, is it not? But it has a happy ending. The Galt mansion became the sorely needed clinic. Lucille married Dr. Thornton, and on quiet nights when she walks upon the terrace, she still hears that whisper that sets her nerve ends tingling. Lucille, Lucille. There you go. And so, there was a love story. This is more of like a haunted love, as we know from the cover, right? So with that, we look at the book. Somebody So to me, I wasn't as scared with these stories. They're very interesting. It was a different kind of story than you're used to. You know, a lot of them are just very angry people, very mean people, sadistic people, being very mean towards each other. This one didn't really have that. At least it was people being more cordial to each other, but there was something foreboding. There was some little nuanced thing there that was kind of frightening, a little spooky, you know. But there's different types of scary stories, right? And this one being haunted love. It was a little bit about a love story. But before we go to the official rating of the Demon Baby, I must look at the book itself. In the back here, there was something that was chopped out. What do you think they possibly could have been looking for? This is holding a kiss necklace, but they wouldn't have ordered the kiss necklace because the order form is still here. It's a mystery. Ooh, a mystery comic. Who had this comic? What were they cutting out? I look on the back page, again, another order form, but there was something cut out. I'm assuming whatever this image was here, they really liked it, and they cut it out. And on the back of the cover, I noticed there's some rudimentary mathematics going on. What impossibly could they have been adding up? We don't know. Now, there is a skateboard keychain here for $2. Maybe they were trying to figure out if they had to pay the tax or the shipping. I don't know. It doesn't say that. Maybe they were buying some books, and these are the books, and they were trying to add it up and maybe add up the tax or something else. I don't know. But I just thought that was interesting. As you look and try to figure out what was it? What kind of rudimentary math were they doing on the back cover? And they did it in a pencil. I like the first one that it was scratched out and they started over. Anyway, it's just kind of eerie and spooky as you look and you wonder, long ago, what were they trying to come up with? What were they trying to figure out in their rudimentary math being done on the back cover of this book? That it was so important that they must write on the book and not on a scratch piece of paper. If you are someone who likes to collect books like this and have them in your collections, rather than just reading them for the enjoyment. A book like this is probably more scarier than the stories that are contained inside. Because look at all the damage to the spine and how it's all wrinkled and crinkled. And like I said, the writing on the back, the rudimentary math has ruined the whiteness of the cover, but it's already very dirty. White is a very hard color to keep clean, especially when it comes to books like this. But you can see that where the staple is being torn, and there's some stains over here, as if whatever they were reading or drinking at the time, they were drinking maybe some coffee or some soda at the local arcade, and they spilled it on the cover as they were trying to figure out the math. Maybe they were banging the table because they couldn't figure out the math properly, and they spilled some stains on there and stained the back cover. But even on the front, with all the damage over here on this side, and then up here, there's even a price tag. And usually you can use maybe some heat, like a hair dryer, and just hold it there, and that will loosen the glue on the sticker, and you can peel it off. But to me, this sticker looks like it's been petrified on, and it looks like more than one sticker was placed at a time. We have no idea where the shop was, but the sticker was kind of torn, or just maybe it eroded off itself, because there is no damage from the sticker, but the sticker, I think, is almost like it has become part of the cover. I wouldn't even try to peel it off at this point. It is now embedded forever into the book of haunted love. To me, that's what makes this book even more enjoyable to read, because it already looks so old and beat up. It looks like it's been used and abused, and to me, that's what makes it more scary and makes it where you want to open it up and read all the crinkled and bent pages to find out the story within. With that now, though, we do need to come to the end and get the rating from Demon Baby. This is a cobwebber. I walked into the cobweb or something there. It's right there in the face. All right, here we are. Okay, yes, there is the Demon Baby is aware. Okay, Demon Baby, what is your official rating for this book of haunted love? The love stories that kind of scary, but you know, it's more just sort of suspenseful. It has a drama to it, you know. Even though on the front cover it says right there, it's scary. You know, I just wanted to grab it real quick here. It was over here, right there where it says, it's scary. You see, it's scary. It's scary that it won't, so scary it won't even zoom in on it, or focus. But that's where it says. It says it's scary. Take my word for it. We saw it earlier. Anyway, this book, very, very much different. I actually realized it's the #1. It's the first issue of this Haunted Love series. I don't know how many issues there were. I'm not sure, but people that collect, they wouldn't want this one because, again, it's so beat up with the price tag and the rudimentary mathematics on the back, right? So anyway, I think, sorry, Demon Baby went back to the sleep. Okay, Demon Baby, please give us your rating now, if you will. Okay, there she is. She's ready. Let's get her to a go. I'm gonna shut up. That's one head spin, and she gives it no more head spins. Okay, only one head spin. Wow, I'm very surprised by one head spin for Haunted Love. You know what though? I have to think, Demon Baby may be a little bit of a romantic herself, and so she kind of got into the whole story. Maybe she felt very sentimental about the book rather than scared. Right? Okay. So I can imagine, I can see that from the Demon Baby. So thank you, Demon Baby, for always giving us your very objective rating for these scary storybooks. And with that, I'm very glad. I hope you enjoyed this, because it was a different type of story that we normally do. We do have just the very scary, frightening, and the very angry and mean people all the time, sicking their lawyers on each other. writing each other out of their inheritances and all of that. But this one, was about a little bit of the romance, and they both ended happily, I think, and for the most part. They had sort of a happy ending. The couples did come together and accomplish something together. I think that's why Demon Baby only gave it one head spin. She didn't go reverse, she gave it one. So it's a little bit of frightening, but it's more, I think, because it was romantic for her even. She enjoyed it, so that's great. Hey, there you go, all right. So with that though, if you like these videos, maybe you can subscribe so you see more of this, because there's so many of these scary storybooks out there, everywhere where there's clutter and piles of papers laying around and antique shops, with overpriced prices of things there. They're gonna stay there forever because the prices are just astronomically too high. They're scary high, okay? You need to bring that down back to earth, all right? Anyway, I digress, getting off on a tangent there. Let me get off my, blood soapbox here, blood banks box, soapbox, whatever. I just wanted to add in, since today's scary book stories was titled Haunted Love, with some romance in there, the Gothic romance. I've been told that I look a little bit like I resemble, dark shadows, right? I'm going to pick the Johnny Depp version of Dark Shadows, right? Okay, the original one is horrific, but maybe so, the Johnny Depp Dark Shadow. Do you see? Maybe there, possibly. I don't know. Maybe if Tom Cruise had played Dark Shadow, yes, or the gentleman's name who escapes me at the moment. Somebody leave it in the comments. Tell us the name of the Dark Shadow. I can't remember it now. But yes, there we go. Okay, anyway, let's go. We need to go for now. I don't want to get a big ego and then something bad happened to me, right? So I will stay humble, right? We got to learn our lesson. Stay humble. Don't get all full of yourself. All right, with that, I appreciate everyone being here. And I hope to see you next time as we explore more scary stories. And I wish you a very chilling, scary, yet peaceful scariness. Ooh, let me try to do this now as we leave. Ooh, I should have started this earlier. Yes, there it goes. All right, see you next time. Take care.